Hello. Today we are going to start with the second chapter. The name of this chapter is Sentence Types: Direct, Indirect, Active, Passive. So for the sake of convenience, we are going to divide it again into parts. Today in this part, we are only going to focus on sentence types. Now the thing is, according to the syllabus or the weightage of marks that CA foundation exam carries, second and third chapter together they carry around 20 to 30% of marks. So it is a very important chapter. This chapter mainly focuses on grammar. Now I am not going to assume that anybody knows even little bit of grammar. We are going to start from scratch. I would advise that you sit with a pen, paper or pencil or notebook or wherever you make your notes, so that anything or any questions if you have, you can note them down and ask later on, or if you find any new information, you will be able to make notes out of it. I have tried to take into consideration every little factor. I have also assumed that nobody knows even the basic of grammar, so it may sound a little childish, but please do not forward this video, because you will have a lot of questions which are basic, and these are marks which are 100% you can score. You cannot make a mistake. It is like mathematics. Once you know the smallest of grammatical errors or grammatical foundation, you will never make a mistake in your English grammar. So let us start. The contents of this video are: what is grammar, the importance of grammar, the basics, what are alphabets, what are words, and what are sentences. Then we will do what is a noun, pronoun, adjective, verb, types of verbs, and then lastly we will do sentence types. The thing is, I am starting with noun because when you proceed to verbs, in types of verbs, you will see that some verbs are a combination of a noun and an adjective, or a verb and an adjective. So you must know the basic fundamentals to get everything right. Please pay attention. Do not forward this video. So let us begin. What do you understand by grammar? Grammar means what? It is a set of structural rules governing the composition of clauses, phrases, and words in any given natural language. Grammar is the system of a language governed by rules. To understand in the simplest form, grammar is simply a set of rules that people follow to interact at a particular time. It evolves and changes over time. Okay. So this is all whatever is there in your module or book or whatever. Let me explain in simple terms. Grammar means what? Any language that you speak is influenced by the culture and the climatic conditions also of the region to which it belongs. Now, let me give you an example. When you talk to a person who is mainly Urdu speaking or Hindi speaking, when he has some problem and he meets his friends and he shares that problem with them, what will he say when he feels good after talking to them? He will say, आपसे बात करके दिल को ठंडक पहुंची. Why does he say that? Because he comes from a hot region. He comes from a place which is very hot. And for people who belong to a hot region, something cooler is pleasant. Now, let us take another example. When you write in English, you say with warm wishes or with warm regards. Why warm? Because London is a very cold place. English or even European countries, wherever English originated, they are all cold regioned places. So warm is more pleasant to them. It may sound very funny, but that is how a language is influenced by n number of things. So now what is grammar? Grammar is nothing but the correct way of speaking or writing a language. What is correct? Now it will change from person to person and region to region. So the grammar is nothing but it is a set of rules that you are supposed to follow when you are going to speak that language or when you are going to write that language. Now, what is the importance of grammar? What happens? Improper grammar can affect the meaning and clarity of a message. If you speak correctly, it will give you a good impression of the person who is talking. And one of the most basic principles of effective communication is correct grammar. And it is extremely important, especially when you are communicating in writing, isn't it? Because writing, first of all, will give you an evidence for a long time. So if you make a mistake, people are going to remember it for a really long time. And also it is going to affect the meaning and clarity of your message. Okay, to understand these, I have made another slide. Okay, this is examples. First one, slow, children crossing. Second sentence, should Madonna be allowed to adopt? Automatic washing machine, please remove all your clothes when the light goes out. Elephants, please stay in your car. This is a warning at a safari park. Let's eat grandpa. And panda, panda is what? A large black and white bear-like mammal, eats shoots and leaves. Now, I want you to pause this video right here. I want you to see all these sentences, and if you can point out the mistakes, then please do that, and then see the next slide. Okay, write all these sentences down and mark the mistakes that are there. Okay, this is to show how important grammar is. Okay, I hope you have paused the slide and done the work that I have told you. Now let us see the next slide. Okay, so slow, full stop, children crossing. Punctuation marks also make a big difference to your grammar and meaning of message. Slow means what? Slow down, full stop. Why do you have to slow down? Because children might be crossing. Okay, next sentence. Should Madonna be allowed to adopt? What was the spelling of allowed? Allowed means loudly, and here allowed means permission. Should she be permitted to adopt? And there it was allowed spelling. Allowed spelling was wrong. Okay. Automatic washing machine, please remove all your clothes. It was, why should you remove the clothes that you're already wearing? No, you have to remove the clothes that are inside the washing machine. Therefore, please remove all clothes when the light goes out. Okay. Next sentence. Elephants, please stay in your car. That was what it means. Means what? Elephants should stay in their car. But no, what do you want to say? You want to say that elephants might be coming, so you please stay in your car. So you have to put elephants, full stop, please stay in your car. Okay, next sentence. Let's eat, comma, grandpa. And what was the question? Let's eat grandpa means what? We will eat grandpa. But here what it means? Grandpa, come, we will eat together. That is the difference that this small comma is making. Okay. The last one is the funniest one, and it shows how important grammar is. Okay. Panda is a large black and white bear-like mammal. Eats, shoots and leaves. Shoots means what? It is the tender part of the branch of a tree. And leaves. Leaves means leaves. Pano or patte, whatever. Okay. So eats, shoots and leaves. If that hyphen was not there, what would it mean? That it eats, it fires a gun and it leaves. That is what it would have otherwise meant. But since that hyphen is there, you know that it eats what? Shoots and leaves. Understanding how important grammar is? Okay. Now let us move on to the next slide. What are words? Words are nothing, but they are a group of letters. Now when we start with learning English, we learn with ABCD. What is ABCD? ABCD are the letters of the alphabet. Letters of the alphabet means together A to Z is called the alphabet. And A to Z are the letters of the alphabet. And what are words? Words are a group of letters. Now tea, coffee, what are these? These are a collection of all these letters together. They are forming a word. Okay. Next slide. What is a sentence? Now a sentence is a group of words that makes complete sense to the reader. It should make complete sense. Please underline and make it bold so that you know what is a sentence. It should make complete sense. Now examples I have given. Girl am I. Is it making any sense? No. I am a girl. That is giving you a complete understanding of what I want to say. Live in London, do you? Is it making any sense to you? No. Do you live in London? This is giving you the correct understanding of what I want to ask you. Are you living in London? Do you stay in London? Are you getting it? So a sentence is a group of words that makes complete sense to the reader. Okay? Okay. Now, we will begin with nouns. Please do not forward from here on. Very, very important. One question for one mark you will get. So important that you have to score. I want all my students to get full marks in this particular chapter. Okay? Okay. A noun is a word for a person, place or thing. Everything we can see or talk about is represented by a word that names it. So basically a naming word is called a noun. Naming word means what? Tree, bird, table. All these are naming words. These are what? Names of things or names of people or names of anything. It can be cities, places, anything. So it is a noun, which is a noun is a word which is a name of a person, place or a thing. Now nouns can be categorized as two things, common noun and proper noun. Common noun is a word used for a class of persons, people or thing. For example, boy, girl, city, place or a thing. Could be a dog, could be a toy, anything. But a proper noun is the name given of a person, place or thing. That is its own name. For example, boy is a common noun, but Michael is a proper noun. City is a common noun, but New York is a proper noun. Dog is a common noun. Rover is a proper noun. Rover is the name of that dog. So it is a proper noun. And proper noun will always start with a capital letter. Basic, correct? Okay. Now, pronoun. Pronoun is what? Pronoun is a word which is used in place of a noun or a noun phrase. Okay. Give a girl the right shoes and she can conquer the world. Now, a girl is your noun, common noun, and she can conquer the world. Now, this she is your pronoun. What is the function of a pronoun? Pronouns basically avoid the repetition of a noun. For example, if that she was not in existence, pronouns were not in existence, what you would have to say? Give a girl the right shoes and the girl can conquer the world, right? So you would have to keep on saying a girl, a girl, a girl. So instead of that, you can simply say she can conquer the world, correct? Okay. Okay. Adjectives. What are adjectives? They are words that describe a noun or a pronoun. So basically, adjectives are giving us more information about a noun or a pronoun. The example is Jack was old. Now, old, it is what? Giving us extra information that Jack is an old man. It looks green. What is that it? We do not know, but it looks green. The color, it is telling us more information about it. He seems cheerful, means he is happy or he is cheerful. It is giving us information about his mood, right? So these adjectives give us more information about a noun or a pronoun. They are describing whatever the noun or pronoun is doing or is, right? Okay. Verbs. Now, verb is a word that shows action or state of being. A verb is a very important part of the sentence. Why? Mainly because it will tell you how many people it is talking about and the tense in which the sentence is. Okay? Okay. So let us see the example. I will make tea. I will make tea. It is one singular person. Therefore, I will make tea. Will means the tea is not made. I will do it in future, right? I am drinking tea. So currently this is happening. I am drinking tea. Okay. And I had tea. So had is what? Past tense. And I had tea. So it is telling you that the action is done. Correct? Okay. So verbs show action or state of being. and they are the most important part of the sentence. Okay. Types of verbs. Now, there are finite verbs. Finite verbs are what? A finite verb is limited by its subject. Means the action of that verb is limited to the subject. Okay. We will see what is a subject and a predicate later on, a little bit later. Okay. It agrees with its subject in number and person. For example, agrees with its subject in number and person means what? I am a teacher. And if it was he is a teacher or they are teachers. So the conjugation of that verb is changing according to the subject and the number of subjects in the sentence, right? For example, I am a teacher. He is a teacher and they are teachers. Understanding? Okay. It changes according to the tense of the sentence, right? And it forms the main clause. It is important to form the main clause. We are going to see clauses and phrases later on. So don't focus on that. The examples are I am a teacher. She goes to school every day and they go to the market every Sunday. So you're realizing how the verb is changing its form depending upon who is the first person or who is the person that is being talked about, who is the subject of that sentence. Okay, I am a teacher. I is the subject and am. So verb will change according to the subject. It is limited by its subject and it will change according to the number and person, right? Okay. Non-finite verbs. Non-finite verbs, they do not change according to the person, number or tense of the sentence. And it cannot stand as the main verb in a sentence. So there will be another verb in that sentence if there is a non-finite verb. And there are what? 3 kinds of non-finite verbs. Let us see each one. First one is an infinitive. Infinitive means what? It is a form of the verb used generally like a noun. Now what is a noun? Noun is a naming word, okay? And it is frequently used with to is a frequently used infinitive. So to is frequently used with an infinitive. Sunita loves to dance. Now see, dance is a noun, right? But to dance is making it a verb. I like to cook. Cook. Cooking is a verb. Simply putting cook will be a verb. Even dance is a verb. I'm sorry. Dance is a verb. Cook is a verb. Play is a verb. But when you immediately put to cook, to play, it is changing its form because the main verb in these sentences is Sunita loves. Loves is your main verb. I like to cook. Like is my main verb. We will come to play. Will is my main verb. So to play, to cook and to dances are becoming my infinitive forms. So these are generally used like a noun. Okay. Okay. Participle. Now what is a participle? A participle is that form of the verb which has the nature of both a verb also and an adjective also. Verb, we know that it shows an action. And what does an adjective do? An adjective is giving us more information about a noun or a pronoun. Okay, now there are 2 types of participles, a present participle and a past participle. Present participle will usually end with ing, but a past participle will usually end with an ed or in the past tense form of the verb. Let us see the example. He sat on a broken chair. Now, broken is giving us what? It is like an adjective, right? It is giving us more information about that chair. That chair is broken. Okay. We met a girl carrying a bag of fruit. Carrying is the verb, right? So ing is there. So it is what? It is the present participle. But you observe that there is another verb. He sat. Sat is your main verb. We met a girl. Met is your main verb. So your non-finite verbs are not the main verbs in a sentence. There is another verb which is a main verb. Understanding? Okay. And gerund. Gerund is that form of the verb that has the features of both a noun also and a verb also. Playing cricket is not allowed here. So playing, to play is your verb, but ing is there. Playing cricket is not allowed here. So it is having doing the function of both. It is doing the function of a noun also and a verb also. I like reading books. Reading, right? So reading is your gerund in this sentence. Understanding? Okay. Auxiliary verbs. Now this is the next type. What are auxiliary verbs? They are helping verbs. And the forms of verbs be, that is am, is, was, have, do. These will be used with ordinary verbs to make tenses, passive forms, questions and negatives. These are called auxiliaries or helping verbs. For example, he is working on a project. He is working on a project. So is your auxiliary. Why? Because it is being used as a helping verb in between. Working is also a verb only, but is being used. Okay. The gate was opened by the postman. The gate was opened, right? Was. You can also say this sentence in another way. The postman opened the gate, right? But we want to put it the other way around. The gate was opened by the postman. So it is helping open, the verb open, right? Okay, that's why it is an auxiliary verb. Now, transitive verbs. What are transitive verbs? They are always action verbs and show doable activities. So everything that can be done in an action form, speaking, driving, thinking, cooking, these are all your transitive verbs. What happens? The action is being transferred. That's why these are called transitive verbs. They have a direct object, meaning someone or something receives the action of the verb. The action that the verb is doing is affecting something, or it is being transferred to something. Let us see. Meher spoke the truth. Meher did what? She spoke the truth. So the action of speaking is being transferred to the truth. The driver stopped the car. Stopped what? The car. So the action is being transferred to the car. The donkey kicked the boy. So the kicking action is being transferred to the boy. Therefore it is a transitive verb. Intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs, what will happen? The action will not pass on to anything, to an object, okay? But it may express a state of being. Means what? Let us see. He ran a long distance. So running a long distance. He ran, but the action is not being transferred to anybody. He ran a long distance. The baby sleeps 12 hours a day. So the baby is sleeping, but the action is limited to the baby. It is not being transferred to anybody. Next, there is a flaw in this design. So it is a state of being. So there is a flaw in that particular design. So it is not being transferred. The flaw is not being transferred to anything else. Okay. What are modal verbs? Modals are words that express permission, possibility, certainty and necessity. Basically, these verbs are asking for permission or a possibility or a certainty or a necessity. Means what? May I come in? May I have a glass of water? You should do something. You should do your homework. You should stand up when your teachers come and wish them, right? So obligation, compulsion is there. I can drive a car. I can drive a car. Ability. है ना? So which are your modal verbs? Can, may, would, should. Then what else? Might. Right? All these are your modal verbs. Okay? Okay. Now, let us move on to basic parts of a sentence. What are the basic parts? They are subject, predicate, direct object, indirect object, object of the preposition, verbs, phrases and complements. Okay. So, we will see each one of these. Let us start with a subject. Now, what is a subject? A subject of the sentence is what or whom the sentence is about. Okay, so what it means, when you read a sentence, it is generally about someone or something. It is telling you something, that sentence, when you read, right? So what or whom is the sentence talking about? That you have to find out. And whoever it is, that is your subject. Now, the cat is sleeping in the sun. What are we reading about? We are reading about the cat. So the cat becomes your subject, right? Okay. What is a predicate? A predicate is a part of a sentence or a clause that tells what the subject is doing or what the subject is. For example, if I have to explain this, I will say that a predicate is that part of the sentence which is giving us more information about the subject. Okay, it is telling you what the subject is doing or where the subject is or anything related to the subject. Now, the previous example, the cat is sleeping in the sun. The sleeping in the sun becomes your predicate because the cat is your subject. Sleeping in the sun is telling us what the cat is doing. Therefore, sleeping in the sun becomes your predicate. Okay. I hope you have understood this. Now, this is a small test. There are 5 sentences. You have to pause this video here. Write these sentences down in your notebook or wherever it is that you're taking notes and mark the subject and the predicate. Okay? I will wait for 1 second for you to write down all these sentences. Okay, I hope you all are done. Do you want to see the answers? Okay. Now, the pen is a tool for writing. What are we talking about? We are talking about the pen. So, the pen becomes your subject. And what is the pen? What information do we have about the pen? That it is a tool for writing. So, a tool for writing becomes your predicate. The bird ate the food. Now, the bird, what are we talking about? We are talking about the bird. Okay. What information do we have about the bird? That he ate the food. So, the bird is your subject and the food becomes your predicate. England is a big country. What are we talking about? We are talking about England. And what information do we have about England? That it is a big country. So, England is your subject and a big country becomes your predicate. Ram is a hard-working student. Who are we talking about? We are talking about Ram. So, Ram becomes your subject and a hard-working student. That is additional information that we have about Ram. So, that becomes your predicate. My sister works in the hospital. Who are we talking about? We are talking about my sister. And what information we have about her? That she is working in the hospital. So, in the hospital becomes your predicate. Okay. Now, direct object. From here onwards, it becomes the most important part of this video. So, please pay extreme attention. Okay. A direct object receives the action performed by the subject. Okay. The verb used with a direct object is always a action verb. To find the direct object, ask the question whom or what. Okay, let me explain. A direct object is receiving the action performed by the subject. Okay. So, first you need to know what is your subject in a sentence. What is happening? Whatever this direct object is, it is affected by what the subject in that sentence is doing. Understood? Okay. Now, the verb used with a direct object is always an action verb. Obviously, because if it has to be affected by it, it has to be an action verb, right? Okay. To find the direct object, ask the question whom or what. Okay. I will give you, please note this is not there in the slides. Okay. To find the direct object, first what you have to do, read the sentence and try to find out what is your subject. Okay, once you have found out your subject, try to find out what your verb in the sentence is. Okay, once you find out the verb, try to understand who or what is receiving the action of that verb. The moment you find that, that becomes your direct object. Okay, let us see. The car hit the tree. What are we talking about? We are talking about the car. So the car is your subject. Hit. Hit is your verb. Hit what? Hit the tree. Okay. Next sentence. Ram kicked the ball. Who are we talking about? We are talking about Ram. What is your verb? Kicked. Action verb, right? Kicked. Kicked what? The ball. Correct? Getting it? Okay. Now, I have given you 5 sentences. You're supposed to find out what is the direct object in these sentences. Okay? So, please pause the video. Write down these sentences and mark. I want you all to mark the subject, the verb and your direct object. Understanding? Okay, I'm going to wait for a second for you all to copy this down. Okay. Now, let us see. Are you all ready? Okay. Now, Sita is your subject, right? Sita built a doll house. Sita is your subject, built is your verb, and built what? She built a doll house. So that becomes your direct object. The ball hit Sheila. Now what are we talking about? We are talking about the ball. The ball becomes your subject. Hit. Hit is your verb. Hit whom? It hit Sheila. So you have understood who your direct object is. I have baked a cake. Now we are talking about whom? I. So I becomes your subject. Have becomes your verb. I have baked. Baked also is your verb. I have baked. But baked what? A cake, right? So a cake becomes your direct object. Ram kicked the ball. Ram is your subject. Kicked is your verb. And the ball, right? So Ram kicked what? The ball. The ball becomes your direct object. John repaired the computer. Who repaired the computer? John. So John is your subject. Repaired is your action verb. And repaired what? The computer. So the computer becomes your direct object. Okay? I hope you all are getting this. Okay? Next slide. Indirect object. Now this is a little bit tricky. Okay. Now what is an indirect object? The indirect object is the recipient of the direct object. Okay, nothing is understood. Okay, it is the person or thing that the action is done to or for. To identify the indirect object, ask the question to whom or for whom. Okay. Now, indirect object is the recipient of the direct object. Means, whatever is happening to the direct object is later on received by the indirect object, to put it simply. Okay. And it is a person or thing that the action is done to or for. Means, whatever the verb is doing, it is done for that person, person or thing, that will be your indirect object. To identify an indirect object, you have to ask the question to whom or for whom. Another small trick, not there in the slides, please note down. How will you identify? Usually an indirect object will come between the verb and your direct object. So it will be something that it will usually be a noun or a pronoun that comes between the verb and your direct object in a sentence. For example, she gave me a gift. So who gave? She gave. So she is your subject. Gave is what? Your verb. But she gave what? She gave a gift. So a gift is your direct object. But to whom she gave? She gave it to me. So I become the indirect object. Basically, the noun or pronoun, which is a passive observer or a passive presence in the sentence is your indirect object. Simplest form to remember is it will be between your verb and your direct object. So how will you find out indirect object? First, you will read the sentence, try to find out who your subject is, what your verb is, then you find out the direct object, and then immediately you will get the indirect object. Okay? Okay, find the indirect object. I have given you 5 sentences. Write down fatafat and you tell me what is the indirect object in these sentences. Fatafat, chalo. Are you all done? Let us see the answers. Find the indirect object. Answers. I made Neha pasta for lunch. Now, who are we talking about? We are talking about I. So, I am your subject. Made is your verb. But made what? I made pasta. So, pasta is your direct object. But for whom did I make? For Neha. So, Neha becomes your indirect object. Neha is what? A noun. We built him a castle on the beach. Who are we talking about? We are talking about we. So, we is your subject. Built is your verb. We built what? A castle. So, a castle is your direct object. But for whom did we build it? We built it for him. Him becomes your indirect object. It is a pronoun. Understanding? Preeti is writing me a letter right now. Preeti. Preeti is your subject. Is your verb. But Preeti is writing you can say. Writing what? Writing a letter. So a letter becomes your direct object. But to whom is she writing it? She is writing it to me. So I become the indirect object. Me becomes the indirect object. Me is what again? A pronoun, right? I have made my mom a promise. So I am the subject. Have made becomes your verb. Have made what? A promise. A promise is your direct object. But I have made a promise to whom? To my mother. Okay. Miss Nair teaches us English. Miss Nair becomes your subject. Teaches becomes your verb. Teaches what? English is your direct object. And us is your indirect object, right? So, if you observe in each of these sentences, you are finding the indirect object exactly between your verb and your direct object. Understanding? Okay. Let us see object of the preposition. Now, first of all, what is a preposition? Preposition are all your words like at, to, behind, in front of, all these are prepositions. Now, the object of a preposition is the noun or pronoun governed by a preposition. Okay, the object of a preposition is usually, but not always, the noun or pronoun to the right of the preposition. Okay, now object of a preposition is noun or pronoun governed by a preposition. So, it will be a name or a pronoun that will be governed by a preposition. Like I told you, what is a preposition? It is at, to, in front of, behind. Basically, words that show you location, right? Words that indicate position, place, location. These are your prepositions. Now, it is usually a word that comes to the right of the noun or pronoun. Okay, let us understand what this means. The dog is looking at the mouse. The dog is looking, okay. But at what? At the mouse. So, at. It is showing you where the dog is looking. So, it is showing you an exact position. Where is the dog looking? It is looking at the mouse. Okay, so the mouse is your object of the preposition. Next, you are going to Kolkata. You are going, okay, but where? To Kolkata. So, it is giving you a perfect place or perfect location where you are traveling. You are going to Kolkata. So, you observe it will come just immediately at the right hand side of the preposition. Now, at. After at, directly on the right it is coming. To, directly on the right it is coming. Okay. slide is there, you have to find out what is the object of the preposition. She sits besides me in class. The play will begin at 7. The ball rolled under the table. The phone, it is the phone. Huh? The phone is on the table. I hid behind the tree and Joy cried during the movie. Did you all get it? Okay, let us see the answers. Object of the preposition. Sita sits besides me in class. Sita sits, but where? She sits besides me. So besides is your preposition and me, I become the object of the preposition. Immediately right hand side of the preposition. The play will begin at 7. At is your preposition and just immediately write 7. Okay. The ball rolled under the table. So under is your preposition. Under the table, immediately right hand side of under. So the table. That is your object of the preposition. The phone is on the table. On the table. On is your preposition. And where the phone is? On the table. So the table becomes your object of the preposition. I hid behind the tree. I hid where? Behind the tree. So behind is giving you the exact location. So behind is your preposition. And the tree is your object of the preposition. Okay. Jay cried during the movie. When did he cry? During. So it is telling you exactly when he cried. When the movie was playing, that time he cried. So during is your preposition. And the movie becomes your object of the preposition. Okay. Now the most important part of your chapter. What is this? This is types of sentences. So, first one is a declarative sentence or an assertive sentence. Let us understand what it means. Declaration, ghoshna, है ना? Or assertive. Assertive means you're saying something, you're stating a fact or you're giving some information. Okay. So let us understand what it means. They make a statement or they give us information and normally end with a full stop. They can be both positive or negative. Now, I like coffee. It is a fact that I like coffee. I am making a statement, right? But I do not like coffee. So I am again giving information that I don't like coffee, right? So what declarative sentences are giving you information or they are making a statement. They are going to end usually with a full stop and they can be both. They can be either positive or they can be negative. Okay. Okay. Next one. Next one is imperative sentences. Imperative sentences means what? They give you a command, authority say, right? They will tell you, don't do this or do that. Okay. So they are very giving you some extreme emotions, right? Some extreme information or some extreme command is being given, right? Compulsion is there in those sentences. They normally end with a full stop or exclamation mark. Usually there is no subject, right? So stop, exclamation. Stop means what? You stop, right? So you is your subject which is not there in this imperative sentence. Sometimes it is omitted, right? Give her coffee. Give her coffee. There is command, right? Give her coffee. So these sentences, they give us command or there is some sort of a compulsion, okay? They will usually end with a full stop or an exclamation mark. Okay. Exclamatory sentences. What are exclamatory sentences? They express strong emotions, right? Very strongly. Yay, we won the match, or hooray, let's go out, celebrate, right? So they give you express strong emotions and they always end in an exclamation mark. Exclamatory sentences in Hindi is what? Vismayadi bodhak, right? I think so. I'm not sure. Okay. Next is what? Interrogative sentences. Interrogation means what? Questioning. For example, some crime has happened. Police catch some suspect. And they interrogate him. Means what? They question him, right? Because he is a suspect. They are trying to get more information from him. So they will ask a lot of questions. So interrogative sentences are nothing but they ask a lot of questions. They ask a question. They want information. And they will always end with a question mark. They can be both positive also or negative also. Do you like coffee? Question mark. Don't you like coffee? Again question mark. So do becomes your positive sentence and don't you like coffee becomes your negative sentence. So basically it is very easy to find out exclamatory sentences and interrogative sentences. Why? Because they will, exclamatory will end with an exclamation, interrogative will end with a question mark, right? But don't get confused between a declarative and a imperative sentences. When you read the sentence, try to understand whether it is giving you information or stating a fact or whether it is giving you a command, right? Okay. Right, so that is the end of this video. I will be doing phrases and clauses and direct indirect speech in the next part of this video. Okay, thank you.